This setup could bring us damaging winds, heavy rain, and isolated storms. Where gusts peak and how long the threat lasts overnight.
A deadly crash involving a Hardin County Sheriff's deputy causes a miles-long traffic backup at rush hour. What we know so far from investigators about what happened here.
Goldsboro police make an arrest less than 24 hours after someone shows up with a child here at this emergency room who was already dead. The charges that man is facing that are also connected to a second victim.
And Medicaid expansion is finally approved in our state. Tonight we go in depth to discuss why now, after 10 years, and what may still be in its way. We're going to get started tonight with a live look at the radar for you. Right now, we've got some storms headed our way, if you can't tell. We're starting off with this because some of these storms could end up being severe by the time they get to your neighborhood. So we're talking about high winds that could be strong enough to do some damage. Glad to have you with us tonight. I'm Dan Haggerty. The worst of all of this is going to arrive in our area about 9 o'clock tonight. Our entire viewing area is under a level 1 risk. Meteorologist Mike Mays in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Mike, this system's been causing problems from coast to coast.
Yeah, earlier this week, California saw snow and heavy rains, and then it moved through the plains with tornadoes. Now this is the last bit of the system moving through. Now, with the loss of the heating of the day, plus the storm energy running out, we don't think this line will be as nasty when it gets here roughly around 9 and 10 o'clock. It's racing to the northeast at about 70 to 80 miles per hour. And you can see the severe thunderstorm warnings upstate South Carolina, one just to the west of Winston-Salem. We will see that rain arrive over the next couple of hours. So here is the timing hour by hour. 20% chance of rain at 7, 30% at 8. Our severe timing roughly from 9 o'clock through about midnight. So if you're out and about, make sure you have the WRAL weather app on your phone. If there are any warnings, it'll go off and let you know what the warning is. Now, Futurecast a little slow in bringing the showers and storms on in, likely to be a little faster than what the model is showing. But ahead of this, we have the potential for strong winds up to 45 miles per hour in our southern counties. And the concern with this line is about 5,000 feet off the ground. We have the strong low-level jet, winds there about 70 knots. When the showers come on by, some of those winds could translate their way down to the ground. So that's the concern we're looking at. Now, coming up in less than 15 minutes, we're going to outline those wind issues and how long wind could be an issue throughout the night, Dan.
We'll check back in with you soon, Mike. Thank you. We're also following some breaking news in Harnett County, where a deputy blaring lights and sirens through an intersection hit a truck and killed 2 people. The deputy also seriously hurt. A terrible crash, Sky 5, over the intersection at Highway 210 and Ray Road today, which we're hearing just reopened in the last hour. WRAL's Keenan Willard is there live. And Keenan, troopers are saying this truck pulled out in front of the deputy as he was pulling through. What else do we know?
Really, just within the last half an hour, it looks like this never even happened at this intersection. Traffic flowing here again. Just a few remnants you can see lit up right in the middle, the last particles and pieces of this grisly crash. But check out what it looked like here for hours and the impact that it had on traffic. You can see the epicenter of it right here by this utility pole where that truck was wrapped around it. And the State Highway Patrol says the 2 people inside, the driver and the passenger, both killed during that impact when they were turning left onto this Ray Road right by 210 coming north, and a deputy was coming southbound, had their lights and sirens on, and there was a tremendous collision that sent both of these cars off the road nearly and stopped traffic for miles, for hours, right into the rush hour period. Tons of traffic coming north out of Fayetteville and Spring Lake, sending miles-long backups going in either direction. What we know so far is that investigators now are trying to recreate what led up to the crash. I did speak with people living in this area, and they say they are not surprised that a catastrophic event like this happened, especially at peak hours.
Fast, crazy, not paying attention. Slow down, pay attention, beware.
What's coming next? We are pressing the State Highway Patrol to tell us some more details about how exactly this happened. And we do know that that deputy is fighting for their life in critical condition this evening at the hospital, hoping that they pull through as a result of this terrible and deadly wreck.
Absolutely. Dan? Absolutely. Keenan Willard, thank you. Just a tragic crash in Harnett County. We think of all their families tonight. We're also following breaking news in Goldsboro and a horrible story of alleged child abuse. A 4-year-old girl is dead. They found a 5-year-old boy badly hurt. WRAL's Brett Neese showing us now the man charged with the crimes.
Officers made the arrest less than 24 hours after someone showed up to Wayne Memorial Hospital's emergency room with that 4-year-old girl, but she had already died. Take a look. This is 31-year-old Emoja Bryant. He was arrested today and charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of felony child abuse. Police say this is the man who struck and killed a 4-year-old little girl. They say he also struck a 5-year-old boy who was later treated here at the hospital after suffering multiple injuries. Both the 4- and 5-year-old lived together. I'm working to find out from police how Bryant is related to them. He's being held in jail tonight on no bond. His first court appearance is Monday at 1:30. In Goldsboro, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
And I'm Chris Lovingood in the WRAL Live Center. I want to point your attention to this person on the screen right here. This is coming from Apex Police. They say that this man right here in his late teens, early 20s, is accused of going into a TJ Maxx, the one that's on Beaver Creek Commons Drive, and putting his phone beneath the skirts of teenage girls and then taking photos. Let's get you a closer look here, pull up on screen. Investigators saying that he was last seen wearing a black sleeve shirt with a white dragon design on the front and black pants, as you see right here. Now, this has reportedly happened 3 different times in recent weeks, with the most recent case this past Monday. Investigators also say that employees at the store actually confronted this person, but the police were not contacted. That's what we're still trying to get more information in terms of why the police weren't called then. Now, if by chance you recognize this man right here, we'll give you one last look, bringing you back into the WRAL Live Center. Investigators with the Apex Police Department ask that you give them a call.
You bet. Chris, thank you. We've got some major changes coming to a busy Raleigh intersection near the State Fairgrounds. I say major because they're going to be putting one road under another road. I know it's pretty easy to complain about construction and traffic, that sort of thing. You got to admit that's impressive. This weekend, crews will shut down the intersection of Blue Ridge Road and Hillsborough Street. They're going to be working on that area for months. When they are done, though, Blue Ridge will pass underneath Hillsborough, the railroad tracks, and Barrel Road. They want to make sure that that area is safer because of all the activity down there, the special events at the fairgrounds and PNC Arena. Fayetteville State University helps a lot of minority-owned businesses, and they just got a whole lot of money to do even more. The federal government awarded the university a $4.9 million grant for its business hub and to launch a new course in a growing field. Here's WRAL's Fayetteville reporter, Gilbert Bays.
Well, Chancellor Darrell Allison says the $4.9 million grant will help local entrepreneurs learn how to negotiate for contracts. But it's also going to create a cybersecurity course for students here at Fayetteville State University.
The hub at Fayetteville State University is a busy place. It's where entrepreneurs come to launch businesses and make them grow.
Oh, it's done a lot. Just the connections that we've made, you know, the people we've made, it's just been a major help because they're showing us, okay, how to get contracts.
This is a workshop for women who own construction companies. They're learning how to get their foot in the door to get contracts that are frequently given to companies owned by men.
And they're looking at not only women, people of color, underutilized businesses. So they're putting training programs together, and it's very effective because it's allowing us to establish relationships with the owners for these contracts.
That's where a nearly $5 million federal grant comes into play. The money is designed to help 30 businesses in Cumberland, Hoke, Robeson, and Sampson counties for the next 2 years.
So this dollars will help our small businesses be able to build capacity, to be able to have access to tools and resources and access to capital, to be able to hire more employees to be able to do the work here.
In addition to expanding the Business Hub's ability to help small minority-owned businesses and entrepreneurs grow, the grant money will provide funding for a new cybersecurity curriculum at FSU.
And so, in addition to getting a 4-year degree in 4 years or less here at Fayetteville State University, we're going to have students who have a work experience, sophomore, junior, senior year. As they moonwalk across that stage getting their diploma, they got 3 or 4 different high-paying job opportunities.
So the business hub here in Bronco Square across from Fayetteville State University has been open for about 6 months, but that grant is going to help a lot of these entrepreneurs for years to come. In Fayetteville, Gilbert Bays, WRAL News.
North Carolina is celebrating Medicaid expansion, but is the party premature? We're going to take a closer look at what could stand in the way of expanding health care to hundreds of thousands in our state. We're going in depth next. And taking a live look outside, the whirligigs are a-whirling. We're waiting those high winds to show up and possible severe storms as we remain under a Weather 1 risk tonight. Meteorologist Mike Mays has the details next.
Chris Lovingood. I want to bring you back into the WRAL Life Center for some breaking news within the last 30 minutes or so. We have learned that the state Supreme Court has sided with the state controller, meaning that the court will revisit the Leandro case. That's a case that WRAL has been following very closely. This is the page that's on our website right now as we're getting you more details with this. This is that case in which the Court of Appeals prohibited the controller from transferring money from the state to agencies without the General Assembly's express approval. Again, this is the Leandro plan, the one that the school boards in the state agreed to and submitted to the state Superior Court in March of 2021 with the idea of fixing what the court said was broken with the state's education system. It was meant to provide, we're talking North Carolina's 1.5 million public school students with a sound basic education. And if that sounds very familiar, that is because, again, WRAL has done extensive coverage, including our documentary, which you can find on our website, Leandro, the case for a sound basic education. You can find that on WRAL.com.
An Emmy Award winning documentary that will explain that pretty well. In the meantime, I would like to take a moment and go in depth on counting your chickens, on putting the cart before the horse, on celebrating a Medicaid deal that still has months before it becomes final. Of course, this is some of the biggest news in our state this week. After a decade of saying no to expanding Medicaid to poor people in North Carolina, Republicans all of a sudden said, okay, actually, let's do it. They seem confident. They seem ready. They gathered around a podium to announce the deal.
We're going to have a policy that is going to expand access to working North Carolinians, that is going to ensure that there is a more robust supply of a lot of these services.
So what does all this mean? Well, it means about 500,000 people, mostly poor people living near or below the poverty line, will have health insurance that they could never afford. People who wanted this deal last year and the year before that and 10 years ago. So why now after all of that time? And the answer is, well, it's money. Federal tax dollars, to be specific, that will end up paying for about 90% of the cost, stemming from President Obama's Affordable Care Act. Now, you might be saying, Dan, hasn't that been around for like a long time? What's new there? Well, two things. One, President Biden's stimulus package kind of sweetened the deal with a nearly $2 billion sign-up bonus. And Republicans, you may remember, failed to repeal the ACA under Trump, so it looks like it's going to stick around for a while, along with all the money it's promising. At least those are the two reasons being said out loud. Another reason that's not as defined is leverage and a chance for Republicans to wield some real power. I met with WRAL state government reporter Travis Fain to hear more. Okay, Travis, thanks for being with us. You're going to be covering this topic on the record, and you've brought together some of the most influential people behind this legislation. But I want to mention that it hasn't been carved in stone yet. There are still two pretty substantial hurdles that have to be hopped over. One is it has to pass, and it looks likely that that's going to happen. But I'm wondering, is there anything standing in the way of that isn't being openly discussed right now?
Well, yeah, the bill, I mean, they're writing the bill, or they were writing the bill this week, so we know what's in it, but we haven't actually gotten to read it yet. All the players haven't gotten to read the actual words yet. That's always important. But yeah, I fully expect this to pass when the two top leaders in the General Assembly stand next to each other at a podium and they describe things and say they're going to move forward. That's what's going to happen. But yeah, the bill actually has to pass both the House and the Senate and presumably be signed by Governor Roy Cooper into law.
Which is the second hurdle, right? The governor would have to sign it, but Republicans have said that's going to be contingent on the budget passing. We know the governor has vetoed their budgets in the past, and yes, that's had to do in parts with Medicaid, but for a lot of reasons. And it feels like Republicans can kind of do whatever they want with this upcoming budget, because either Cooper will just feel compelled to pass it, or it would be pretty easy for them to go to a poor county where people are really relying on this Medicaid expansion, find some Democrat representing them, and get them to switch over and override a veto.
Yeah, that's kind of the long and short of it. I mean, it's a lot of leverage, right? The way they're going to write this Medicaid bill is that expansion doesn't kick in until the state budget is a law. So until it passes, until it's implemented, that has been a back and forth between Democrats and Republicans, what is and isn't in the budget. I fully expect Republicans to jam some stuff into that budget that Democrats don't like, make them swallow it in order to get Medicaid expansion, either make the governor sign it, even though he might not like parts of it, which is normal in politics, or, like you said, override, find some Democrats to.
Big leverage for Republicans, you'd say.
Huge leverage.
Yes.
This is a top priority for Governor Roy Cooper and for the Democrats. Medicaid expansion is.
Now, Travis is going to be talking about all of this on the record, and not just in terms of who is going to be helped directly, but the entire system, everybody, and all of our lives involving health care in the state. What can we expect this week?
I mean, you can't pump billions of dollars into a system without it impacting everybody. We're going to break down the nitty-gritty of this bill with lawmakers, with Steve Lawler, who's head of the Hospital Association. And one of the things I asked him was, we're giving you all this tax money to the hospital system. What guarantee is there that that will actually lower prices for the rest of us? And as I think you'll hear in this clip, it's not a guarantee.
So because, we expect to see bad debt go down, I mean, there's certainly opportunities for hospitals to work within their community to continue to make the cost of health care lower and make it more affordable.
So I heard opportunity. I did not hear a promise there. North Carolina is the 11th most expensive state in the nation for outpatient care right now, according to a RAND Corporation report. Can I get a promise that prices will go down?
Well, I can assure you that every hospital in North Carolina is working to reduce the cost of care. So that is a fact.
But these billions of dollars being pumped into the system certainly should help on that.
Yeah, it's nice to try and pin him down there. We'll see how well you do. Yeah, we'll see how he does tomorrow night, Saturday at 7 p.m. on the record, Medicaid expansion deal. Travis, thank you so much for chatting with us tonight.
Nice to be here.
Let's keep talking about money for just a moment. The typical lawyer in North Carolina charges anywhere between $65 and $362 per hour. One of the most expensive services, ironically, tax and bankruptcy, when you need money the most, ranging from $362 to $336 per hour. Lawyers are so expensive that sometimes people don't even consider the option. So today, we helped to make it free. And thousands of you took advantage of WRAL's Attorneys on Call, providing answers to your legal questions, 100% free of charge. Now, if you miss this event and you have questions, legal questions you want answered, there are still options for you. Go to WRAL.com, where we've posted details about pro bono and low-cost legal options for you. Also working for free for you, meteorologist Mike Mays. Mike, we've been watching this system. It caused havoc and snow out in California, and it has just been messing things up all the way to us, where we got some high winds in the forecast.
Yes, and this is the last bit. And once this moves on by, we have great weather for the weekend. Now, two things. We're losing the heating of the day, so that would help these storms weaken. Also, we're losing the storm energy to help them sustain themselves in a strong fashion. So you can see over the past hour or so how these are breaking up. And as it makes its way to the east, it's running into a lot of wind shear. That's why we can't let down our guard. The wind's about 5,000 feet off the ground, or about 70 knots. So it still has the potential to create some gusty winds as it does move through. Probably won't see any severe thunderstorm warnings, but we'll be vigilant and watch out for that. We have a wind advisory for our southern counties from Johnston over to Harnett. Also Lee County and points southward from now through 1 a.m. The winds could gust up to 45 miles per hour with that line coming through. Secure any loose articles. Now in our northern counties, where the air has been more stable all day, you probably won't achieve those kind of winds. Here in the Raleigh area, we might, even though we're not in the advisory per se. These are the winds right now: 28 mile per hour gust in Fayetteville, 26 at Southern Pines, 18 in Clinton, 26 at Goldsboro. Make sure you tune in tonight at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 on WRAL. We'll check to see how high these winds are. And with the winds gusting up to 45, would not be surprised if there were some spotty power outages, hopefully not lasting too long. And again, it's during that severe timing from 9 till about midnight that we would have those strongest winds. And then overnight, these are sustained winds. They're still going to be high, so you'll still hear your wind chimes banging around. I've got a couple in my backyard that really are loud when it is windy. 65 right now at RDU. It's been holding steady for the past couple of hours. 75 in Fayetteville, 54 in Roxborough. You guys never warmed up there. So Futurecast, this is a different model that shows a little faster motion than what I've been showing previously. By 9 o'clock, that line's moving into the area. That's the timing. There's 10 o'clock, and then by midnight, it's moving out. And you can notice how weaker it is, but with those winds aloft, it's very strong. It wouldn't take much for those winds to make their way down to the ground. ground. So be aware. Have the WRAL weather app if you're going to be out this evening. If there are any warnings in your area, it will alert you and let you know. Probably won't have warnings, but probably will have some strong gusty winds that could cause some minor damage. And the line continues to shift off to the east. And tomorrow morning, we wake up to brilliant sunshine that lasts through the entire weekend. So rain early, then clearing overnight. Lows will be in the 50s, 49 though for Roxborough, 52 in South Hill. Tomorrow, what a day. Bright, breezy in the morning, less wind in the afternoon. A good day to go to the park. Lunchtime, we expect about 64. And with the air being so dry, I think you'll need a jacket tomorrow, especially if you're in a shady spot. 67 for Raleigh, 72 Fayetteville, 65 at South Hill. Your 7-day forecast. Sunday looks superb as well. A little cooler start, 41. 41 Monday morning. A couple of warm days. I'm telling you, enjoy these 4 warm days because we've got some massive cold on the way. We're kind of introduced to it Wednesday and Thursday with upper 50s to low 60s. Those morning lows back into the 30s. Friday, we see rain in the forecast, 53. That may stretch into the weekend, and it's possible some of us could have highs in the 40s over the weekend. Ooh. Next weekend down.
Mike, you do get paid, right? I was saying you don't do this pro bono.
No, neither do you.
No, I thought so. All right, Mike, thanks so much. The North Carolina mansion made famous by popular Will Ferrell movie could be yours. A closer look at the waterfront property and how much it's selling for coming up. 4 local high school students from North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics are headed to a national competition. They were named finalists in the Regeneron Science Talent Search for projects they worked on for months. 40 finalists were chosen out of nearly 2,000 applicants. The students will be in Washington, D.C. for the competition next week. Good luck. The North Carolina mansion, made famous for its appearance in Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, is up for sale. The home on Lake Norman is going for $9.9 million. The waterfront property features 6 bedrooms. Is that all? Plus that famous Ricky Bobby fireplace. That movie's hilarious. The house last sold for $4 million. The movie features a North Carolina NASCAR driver played by Will Ferrell. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Tomorrow, Duke and UNC will wrap up the regular season with Battle of the Blues Round 2 in Chapel Hill. We will have live team coverage for you pre and post game from the Dean Smith Center. That begins Saturday at 6 o'clock right here on WRAL. That does it here at 7 o'clock. We'll see you back here at 10 and 11 on WRAL. Have a great night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.